You sure say you could fit to the kind of work with me they do?
Ross.
No rush, answer me.
To Kill a Monkey is a bold entry in contemporary Nollywood, directed and produced by Kemi Adetiba. This film probes how desperation, ambition, and moral compromise collide in the underbelly of Nigeria's digital world. To Kill a Monkey was released on Netflix on July 18, to be precise, 2025. It runs or is still running on 8 episodes, and it features cast like Buchi Franklin, William Benson, Bimbo Akintola, and Stella Damasus, including Chidi Mokeme, and of course my Edo sister, Lily as Ida. At its core, the series follows a feminine, Efe for short, a struggling programmer drawn into cybercrime by an old friend, Obaz, we all pronounce it differently, and Mo Ogunleshi, a cybercrime officer haunted by laws as their paths inevitably intersect. Hi, my name is Trina. I am your host for this first season of the Embassy Studios Film Review. Isn't that beautiful? In this review, I'm going to be using the 5 elements that we picked in using to examine films. And these elements are artistry, cinematography, editing, performance, and of course the sound, which is everything. This episode is going to be broken down into 2 parts. This is the first part. And when we go to the next part, you understand what I mean. First, we'll look at the story and how it was portrayed through cinema and producers in the second part. And in the second part, we are also going to be looking at the characters, not just the producers. We're going to be looking at the characters and how well they did. We know they all did fantastic. But now, let's begin with the whole story, which is very important, which is what every review, kind of focus on. The crime thriller from powerhouse filmmaker. Kemi. The strong mind behind King of Boys. We all remember King of Boys. And now, To Kill a Monkey. This one is bold. It's emotional. It's stirred up and it's still stirring up lots of conversation. Even though some people decide to review it in 2026, 2027, it's still stirring up conversations. The first thing that strikes you in To Kill a Monkey is the visual tone. Beautiful. Kemi used cinematography to pull us right into the dark underbelly of Lagos. And she does it with intent. And this is why everybody's talking about her. Lighting here is everything. Harsh shadows, moody blues, low lit corners. Each shot feels like it's hiding a secret. Kemi, tell us the secret. The play between light and darkness mirrors the moral tension of the story itself. The handheld camera works in chase and crime scenes. It makes you feel the chaos, and when it slows down, it's giving us time to breathe with the characters. But however, not every frame lands. Some night scenes are just too dark. Anyway, let's leave the but for now. A few sequences drag on longer than needed. That's my own observation, guys. But overall, not my first but. The cinematography gives To Kill a Monkey its heartbeat. Trust me. It's stylish, it's gritty, and it's deeply atmospheric. We have to understand the purpose or role of cinematography in this series. I think I have to tag myself to remember to be calling it series instead of film, because sometimes I just film is series. But it plays a pivotal role in establishing mood, contrast, and the moral tone of scenes, swinging between the harsh, guilty underside of crime and moments of quiet, introspection, or emotional tension. And of course, let's talk about the strength. Still on cinematography, we're going to be breaking it down in first lighting and contrast. This series often uses heavy lighting in night or interior scenes with deep shadows and stark highlights, particularly when characters are making morally fried decisions. This visual contrast mirrors the internal conflicts of characters like Efe and Obaz. And please, guys, the Obuz, I'm going to be pronouncing it as it comes to my head, because we all, like I said earlier, pronounces that word differently. The those and the deltas, have different way of pronouncing Obaz, Obuz. Yeah. Anyway, enough of Obaz. Let's go to color palette and tone. The color grading often leans towards desaturated cool tones in scenes of tension or crime, switching to warmer hues in domestic or more vulnerable moments. But the contrast subtly underscores the dual life's character lead. You can see here my voice is trying to dance according to the tone of the lights. Let's use that word. Yeah. Now, for camera movements and framing, there were moments of dynamic handheld camera work during action or chase sequences, and this is very significant because handheld camera work isn't just about not using a tripod. You know what I mean? It is a storytelling choice that directly affects how the audience feels inside the world of your film. And that's something Kemi Adetiba is absolutely gifted at. Her ability to create different characters. She creates different character universe. She creates the King of Boys universe. You remember? Which took the nation by storm. And now it's To Kill a Monkey universe. She creates universe. We never can tell what universe she's coming with. She also created a universe in Wedding Party. Just by their ability to prolong, and she's still able to capture our attention. Absolutely gifted woman. This effect gave the film, like an action film, because everything was going at this point, like push. You know what I mean? But it was allowing character faces to speak volumes. You will agree with me that the juxtaposition works to emphasize the characters. Okay, now let's talk about the editing, which is one of the most important aspects of filmmaking. We all know every aspect is important, but editing, as a producer myself, I'm just going back to an experience recently where we produced a movie. At first, when we looked at the product, we had issues with editing. So I had to send to a different editor who made magic. You could tell the difference. So editing makes you worried, and when you have a good editing, makes you relax. And this is where things get a little uneven. When To Kill a Monkey moves, it really moves. The cross-cutting between the two leads, that is Efe and Obaz, the desperate coda drawn into crime, with Mo, the officer, the cybercrime investigator, builds serious tension. But then, some scenes just don't know when to end. The editing shines in moments of confrontations and climax, but struggles in transition. Still, credit to the team for maintaining narrative tension across multiple storylines. Even if a little trimming could have made the series tighter and more addictive. What do I mean by that? We will get more drawn into the series. And some people online argue that 8 episodes, however, took extended for the series. What I mean is, it was so much. When I finished the 8th episode, I wanted more because it was good. And then for costume, props, and objects. For costumes, I am trying to imitate what the characters were. I'll be trying to behave like the characters, but there are no two people. There is no way. I'm not an actor. I can't really behave like the characters, but I'll just try. But you will see more of that in part 2 of this film. For costumes, props, and objects, let's take it from Obaz. You see Obaz's clothing, what he was wearing in the movie, were bold, they were flamboyant. It portrays like a boss, not the name Obaz, but the leader, the boss, the crime lord. His costume spoke loud. His rings, his facial expression too, everything was speaking worth, just flamboyant. And unlike Ife, who was modestly dressed, you could see maybe poverty or a struggling young person who is trying to make it, or that's like Obaz always called him Jesus' cousin. He was always trying to portray that modesty. And then let's look at symbolic objects, the blood vessels, the ritual tools, the mask. Oh Lord, that was really nice. In the opening, attempts to introduce the thematic way early. We are also going to be looking at the blockings, the movement, and the staging. For movement, characters through space often reflects power dynamic in scenes between Ife and Obaz. Ife often invades Obaz's physical space. I don't know if it was stage, but standing over him, trying to portray dominance. His boss. Obaz was always trying to portray that he was the boss. And then for the investigative scene, we see Mo and her team are often framed in sterile, rigid compositions, like desk, offices, reflecting an investigative or a police or, a force office. That was good. In emotional or familiar scenes, the blocking is tighter, more intimate, compressing space to heighten tension within constrained settings. That was also good. But the reoccurring of the mocking motif invites interpretation. Who is the mob and who is the killer? Now let's talk about the performances, which is another very important aspect of a film. Because as a producer or a director or an editor or a sound mixer, the characters has to bring out your story. The characters plays in your head and bring out their best, which is what all the characters in To Kill a Monkey did. I know you'll be expecting me to start with Buchi Franklin. No, let's start with William Bensi. William Bensi, to us, even though he has been there, but to many of us, we're seeing him for the first time. Ife delivered restrained and emotional honesty. You could feel his fear. You could feel his guilt, his slow descent into chaos. You could feel his hunger. This guy was hungry to be the Nicolas Cage of Nollywood. For Chidi Mokeme, Stella Damasos, Buchi William, everybody, both supporting cast or characters and the main characters, who ground the story with gravity, together they elevate what could have been a simple crime series into something deeply human and emotionally charged. These guys, they were good. They were, I don't know, I can say it over and over and over again that they gave in everything, all of themselves. They carry much of the emotional weight and credibility of the story. The actors must ground characters, psychological journeys, failures, and betrayals. They were good. And let's talk about sound, which is very important in this movie, not just in this film or in this series, but every production. We all know that sound is very important. And interestingly, I hope you guys know that Kemi Adetiba's husband did the scoring for To Kill a Monkey, which is another mad-blowing thing. That makes this production unique. Husband and wife creating magic. This is what we love to see. The scoring was beautiful. And you know, that sound has become so popular. I think in the next part, we are going to be focusing more on Oscar and Adetiba and all the characters. I will talk more about this very quiet man who is walking behind the scene. But then, I hope my review was good. I'm giving it a 9 over 10. I would have given it a 10 over 10, but because of just one or two things, I'm giving it a 9 over 10. It was an honor reviewing To Kill a Monkey by Kemi Adetiba. I wish I had a gun with me and a mask with me. You know, I would have really loved that. But then, this was beautiful. I would love to do this again. But then, please, don't forget to like us. Please comment, follow us, and share this. And tune in for the next part. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.